good, people? It's your boy Icarus Gray.
And it's your homeboy Wordplay TJ.
And this is the No Rhyme or Reason podcast, where we talk about everything.
Everything for no reason at all. And we're live.
Yeah. What's good, people? It's your boy Icarus Gray.
And it's your homeboy Wordplay TJ.
And this is the No Rhyme or Reason podcast, where we talk about everything.
Everything for no reason at all.
We're back.
And this is why everybody's mad at Killer Mike.
Man.
So we're going to talk about it. We're going to discuss the Voting Rights Act, his video that was posted on Instagram and Threads regarding organizing around the Voting Rights Act, and why everybody's super confused about Killer Mike's presence now in reference to voting, and then kind of what we think about it. So let's start first with the Voting Rights Act.
Whew. Man, oh man.
So recently there was a Supreme Court decision on Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act. That decision was handed down, was it last week? Let me think. I don't want to get this wrong. Voting Rights Act, Section 2. Yeah, so 3 days ago. The Supreme Court said Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act is now null and void. Section 2 was designed to make sure that there was no kind of voting rules that were established that would result in discrimination towards anyone, mostly black folks and people of color. Because the Civil Rights Act, within the Voting Rights Act of 1965 and the Civil Rights Movement, individuals won that legislation and had the opportunity to make sure that more people were represented in Congress, in Washington, and across their states.
Right. So
since then, since that 6-3 decision from the Supreme Court, both Section 5, which was overturned in 2013, or sort of gutted in 2013, now Section 2 is also gutted, which means the Voting Rights Act is going to have to be resurrected by Congress at some point by writing new rules about discrimination and ensuring that people are able to vote. So all that is to say that we're pissed about those outcomes, but Killer Mike is also pissed about those outcomes, and we're going to listen to what he has to say about it.
This is Killer Mike, also known as Michael Render. 1965 Voters' Rights Act just got gutted. They gutted it. They literally eviscerated it, and it's now trying to make it easier, or allowed it to be easier, for states to redraw district lines to annex those most in need out. This is not just black people and African Americans. This is poor people. So based on where you are, the more poor people are, they can chop you up. They can make sure you aren't voting on the behalf of the poor and the interests. They can make sure that it affects your schools. They can make sure it affects your jobs. They can make sure it affects every part of your life. So right now, you need to be putting pressure on our local politicians and local municipalities not to do this. We need to be putting pressure to make sure that those like you and like your neighbors still have the ability to exercise their full constitutional rights of voting, and it being effectively not eviscerated and us being taken back to Jim Crow. So we're going to start the largest voter initiative possible this fall. We're going to get people out to the polls. We're going to beat up those midterms, and going forward, we're going to do more than just march and protest. We're going to go to the polls. We're going to change the people who are in office. We're going to get those laws back changed in the favor of the people. This is Michael Render. Stay tuned. We're going to do something plot, plan, strategize, organize, and mobilize big next.
All right. So I have 2 points, and one's a tangent.
Okay.
Good on you, Mike, for organizing people and ensuring that people are getting out to vote and exercising their vote in a massive way and potentially shifting the midterms.
Right.
I think that's great. There's one thing that he said that was worrisome, which is the tangent.
Mm-hmm.
They gutted the Voting Rights Act, and it's not just about African Americans. I would like to hedge on that statement a little bit. It was mostly about black people. There was a lot of people, mostly black people, that were fighting for the Voting Rights Act. And so it is for poor people. But let's say, who are most of the poor people in the South outside of poor white folks?
Mm-hmm.
Poor black folks.
Right.
And who was most disenfranchised prior to the Voting Rights Act being signed into law? Black folks.
Yeah.
As a consequence of slavery, Jim Crow, all of that. Bad stuff.
Small pre-point to him, right?
Uh-huh.
Given the fullness of what he was saying, I do think it's still in line with who he's been. I don't think it's changing his rhetoric or the things that he's been saying, because it seems consistent to me.
Yeah, and we did a lot of research prior to to filming this that he hasn't really changed his tune about local power, local voting. Mm-hmm. The national election is the Super Bowl, and sort of like a dog and pony show. That's not an exact quote, but that is similar to what he said.
Yeah.
So sorry to cut you off, but
no,
he's not really saying anything new. But I think what the people are concerned about, and this is where our conversation starts.
Yeah.
Why now, Mike? Is what they're upset about.
Yeah.
They're saying that you're a little too late, my dude. If you were gonna come and march out here and give us and champion something, why didn't you champion getting out to vote? Well, sorry, because I can't say that he didn't champion that. I can't say that he didn't champion getting out to vote in 2024 or 2016. But I can say that he did not explicitly endorse the presumptive winners over Donald Trump.
Yeah.
And Donald Trump is the reason why this decision has been helped out, so to speak.
Yeah.
He has added an additional justice to the Supreme Court in the 6-3 decision. We may have had an opportunity to have a different outcome had Congress decided that they were going to interview and bring on an additional justice during at the end of the Obama administration.
Yeah.
But they didn't want to confer anybody because they were like, it's too close to the election, so we're not gonna do it. And so there was no opportunity, and I'm not sure. History is failing me at the moment. I'm not sure if Obama even took the opportunity to do so prior to leaving.
Not prior to leaving, because 2013, when they gutted Section 5 of the VRA, we were already at a disadvantage. It was 5-4.
5-4, yeah,
and it was 2 from Bill Clinton, 2 from him, and then the rest were Reagan era.
Yeah. But I think at the end of Obama's term, and was it 2015, and we can fact check that, he had an opportunity to add a justice, if I'm not mistaken, or replace a justice, but he didn't, and so Trump had that opportunity. And so I think the question of why now has created a bunch of frustration online. So what is it?
2016, he had an opportunity to add a Supreme Court justice in his final year, following the unexpected death of
Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
That was later. This is Antonin Scalia.
Scalia.
Excuse me. So he had that opportunity, but again, was respecting the fact that he wasn't trying to just shoehorn somebody in. He was actually respecting, if I recall correctly, the death,
the process.
the process.
Yeah, he's respecting, like, there's going to be a new president.
Yeah,
I'm not going to do that
right.
this term. I wish you did, Obama, but never mind. Because they did not miss an opportunity
Boy.
to pack the court. So anyway, the people's response.
Yes.
They say that, Killer Mike is sort of why we listen to you now. Because you have been sort of this political or policy opportunist.
Yeah.
You have supported people who ultimately wouldn't, you have championed people who ultimately wouldn't get us closer to, like, supporting or securing the Voting Rights Act. What you have done is taken small bits of policy or single issues and championed anybody that would support those single issues on the local level.
Right.
But that in turn has harmed an opportunity for you to use your microphone to big up Clinton or Harris, who, like, vocally, he was a Bernie supporter during the Hillary Clinton campaign. He did not come out and forcefully support Kamala Harris at any point in time during 2024. Was it 2024? Am I right?
Yeah, because we're in his second.
Okay.
Yeah, and then also he chose to support Brian Kemp over Stacey Abrams. He's given Herschel Walker a platform to kind of like speak about different things, and there's been like these.
Was that on his show or Herschel's show?
It was on his show.
Okay.
Or on a show that he was doing. Like, there were conversations with him, but it wasn't conversations with Killer Mike.
Got it.
So there's been all of these adjacent things that have snowballed into, cause and effect of, like, there were a lot of things that you were not doing that have contributed, whatever that percentage is, we don't necessarily know, but we know that you have contributed towards where we are now, whether intentionally or unintentionally.
I think folks are arguing that, right?
Right.
I can't find any evidence of his contribution. I can just only find evidence of his single issueness being a problem.
Yeah.
And I can find evidence of, like, him not endorsing the most winningest candidate towards progressivism.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, he's not supporting the person that's going to win towards progressivism. He's championing somebody that, like, is connected to an issue that he cares about that likely doesn't have a chance.
Yeah. And I think he feels within his mind the support is bigger than what it is. The same way we kind of always move the scales based on fringe things versus what's actually happening.
Yeah. So let's kind of talk about his single issueness, not point by point, but he had an example of something that Brian Kemp was supporting in Georgia, which was, like, businesses in general, and then also supporting,
the Hope Scholarship.
Hope scholarships and opportunities for students within Georgia.
Yeah.
Folks would say that, like, Killer Mike gives off progressive vibes, but then, like, it also is politically confusing or an opportunist situation when, like, he is, like, championing capitalism.
Or, even, guns rights in a certain way that he champions, the NRA, can come off not progressive. Just comes off in a way of kind of well, you have, so we should have kind of thing. So there is like these defining lines where there's no, it's very black and white without like addressing the actual race of it all. I think he presumes a certain standing that is just not there.
Yeah. And going back to the original point, the people are like, we needed you win.
Yeah.
And we needed you to come and like organize in 2016.
Yep.
We needed you to come and organize in 2024 to avoid the situation that we have with Donald Trump.
Right.
Because both times he spent the campaign trail lying to us.
Yeah.
And telling lies that were seemingly favorable. And people kind of bought into him. Let's say this last election, right? Affordability, no new wars, those things. And I don't know anything about Project 2025. So my issue is that, like, Mike, did you pay attention to those pieces? And then, like, I wonder if Mike would have supported or endorsed Kamala Harris had he analyzed those three things.
Mm-hmm.
Affordability. Like, is Trump really going to deliver affordability?
Mm-hmm.
Is Trump lying about Project 2025? Is Trump more likely to enter us into a new war?
Yeah.
Or continue to support Israel and the genocide in Gaza?
Like, I
think that's what people are upset about.
Yeah. I also think people are upset because it's very difficult when we all just choose to stay on a sinking ship.
Mm-hmm.
And a sinking ship in politics, to me, is continuing to, when you have numbers and statistics prior to making a decision, you know it's not going to change or be effective, but you won't move to something that is at least somewhat effective.
Yeah, so it's connected to like single issue voting or voting for the Green Party, who only got 600,000. Yeah, 0.4% of the vote, 600,000 votes, just over.
Yeah,
in 2024.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, I think people are frustrated because there are a lot of people that don't believe in protest votes.
Yeah.
Or maybe this group of people that are mad at Mike don't believe in protest votes.
Yeah, and I mean, I think there's like I said, there's a mentality of the protest votes are still votes, and 0.4% on another issue, or like us kind of actually aligning with one another to get something to change, is better than you trying to stand on some laurel that literally no one will hear.
Yeah, and I do want to say it's not just the Green Party, right?
Right.
There are lots of other candidates that, if you add up in totality, right, the margins for certain votes. I believe the margin in Arizona, and I'm just kind of spitballing this off the top of my head, was something like, I can't remember if it was like 2 million or 200,000 votes. I'm going to look that up really quick. Because when you look at all the other candidates in many of these states that Kamala didn't win, it's like razor thin.
Yeah. And what's crazy is the protest voter, meaning the person that, is voting for whoever it is you're deciding to vote for, even at a loss, you then equal the same as the person who doesn't vote. You don't eat, but that was a huge thing in talking about who didn't go to the polls, whose fault it was. And it's like, well, it's two people's fault. It is part and parcel of the people who didn't vote and the fault of people who voted against the person that had the best chance. And a lot of times we speak about the lesser of two evils and all these things. And majority of the time, forward progress is progress. Like, and now we're taking all these steps back under this administration with nothing to show for it.
Yeah.
Like,
And actually less to show for it. Right?
Yeah. Oh, actually, you're right. Yeah.
Because the Voting Rights Act is now dismantled.
Yeah.
And we can already see the impacts of it. Tennessee is redrawing their boundaries. Florida is redrawing their Louisiana, and a bunch of other southern states are redrawing their boundaries. Mm-hmm. There are some states that tried to mount a defense like Virginia, but their new map was overturned by their Supreme Court this week. California mounted a intense voter referendum to change the maps temporarily, and they were successful. And so it's kind of just like this situation where I'm just like, yo, what are we doing? So the difference of votes was less than 2 million in Arizona. And I think, like you said, and this is probably also what people are upset about, there are so many people that stayed home, and Killer Mike could have been one of the people that said, come out and vote for Kamala Harris. That seems to be what people are upset about, and seemingly confused at why Killer Mike is saying something now.
Yeah, and rightfully so. Because I think Mike's thing, which is the craziest part of why people are right in this regard, you just want the respect to be able to vote for who you want to vote for. But who you want to vote for, especially in this climate, is more important than the single issues that you want carried out. Especially when you're talking about the other side of the aisle in Republicans.
Yeah, so I guess what you're saying is that, like, you could probably get closer to your goals if you supported Kamala
or whatever,
or somebody,
or somebody within there. You could at least have a station to have the conversation, because you're not losing things that people feel that their rights are being stolen. You're not like coming up against the opposition. You're at least allowing, like I said, there to be a conversation over, all the stuff we're going through now, this dictatorship and no kings and all of this stuff where
multiple people killed. Yes. Multiple people dying in incarceration.
Yeah. Redacted files.
Right.
That were, golly. Anyway.
You redacted the redacted. Yeah. This is a double entendre.
But like
a double redaction.
You Kinko's redacted.
Like, no, I'm talking about you.
Oh yeah.
You just redacted the redaction.
I did. But yeah, so it's disheartening in a way, especially as many years as we've spent trying to just get people to be informed and go vote. Whereas, like, it's not just about being informed and going and voting. It's about knowing not so much when to cut your losses, but when to just unify with as close as I can get versus trying to be the ops to I'm not getting my way.
Yeah, I'm not getting my way, so I'm gonna give this a thumb down on my ballot.
Yeah. So or I'm gonna write somebody in that literally is gonna get, like, not even it literally is a drop of water in a bucket that, like, immediately hit the ground. Like, it didn't even make the bucket.
Yeah, I just wonder, have you mentioned that if people sort of spend their time not engaging in the vote, like, what am I trying to say? It's about the individuals that stay home.
Yeah, we need you
to not.
to come out because you matter. Like even if so say you didn't want to vote for Kamala, right? And you had, with I think how many people? Like what are we at? Like 50%?
Wait,
Or something like that of people
all
voting?
voters.
Yeah.
Let me look.
It is basically there's a lot of people who do not use their voice and their right to change anything. Now, granted, on one end, the majority of those people who are not voting are benefiting from not voting. They're still getting the things that they need. But in other areas, there are especially when you're talking about the minorities who don't vote. You're literally, not recognizing your general power because you have power over those other people who are not voting, but still getting the things that they will want. And I'm just kind of like in a space where this isn't about telling somebody that they're wrong for feeling a way about Killer Mike's comments. This is a and conversation. You are correct for how you feel about Killer Mike. And what he said still matters. And we still, no matter how late it is, it's still right and we got to get up and go do it. I can correct you and say, hey, you messed up and we're here because of this, but also, and also not but, because there's not a but in this. And you need to get on board with something that is actively going to help us. You need to get on board with someone who we are saying is the person.
Yeah. So say specifically, right? So the question you asked is the voter turnout rate for 2024.
Yeah.
It was 63.7%
Okay.
of eligible voters came out. And it goes up and down depending on what your state is.
Yeah.
But that was less than 2020.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Even still. So it's 3 points lesser than 2020. And in the midterms of 2022, only 46% of voters came out.
Jeez.
This midterm cannot be another midterm where only 46% of people come out, because I feel is you are allowing for those 46% of people to choose who is going to be your next senator, your next congressperson, who is going to be your local elector or elected person. And you're leaving it out on the table there,
Yeah.
in my opinion. And so I just believe that people are frustrated. Ultimately, just to bring it back to Killer Mike, they're frustrated at Killer Mike because if you were going to turn people out to vote, you could have did it in 2016. You could have did it in 2024. And great that you're doing it in 2026. Keep that same energy in 2028, my dude.
Yeah. And let's not throw the baby out with the bathwater.
Please.
Like, let's earnestly understand that it's like, yeah, you need to take this baby out. Like, Killer Mike, listen, bro. You see this? This water is dirty. And you messed up this water. Like, let's drain this out. But
don't drain the water.
Like, let's clean this up.
Drain the swamp.
Let's get this together and be unified versus like all these I told you so's. It's not going to be as effective as we want it to be. It's not even going to be effective at all. We do need to have the largest number of voters coming out for these midterms. We do need to have a mass exodus of people like going to the polls, getting information about the policies that you won't change, and then getting out and enforcing those policies, because these are, and I will repeat this a million times over,
That's a critical point.
public servants.
Hold them accountable. That's a great point.
Like, let's, do those
The way that we
emails.
did when ICE stepped out.
Yeah.
People were showing up
Yeah.
to their houses and said we didn't vote, like to their constituents' precincts or whatever they're called, and they were saying we didn't vote for this.
We didn't vote for this. We didn't want them in our schools.
Why are you letting this happen?
Like, you're supposed to protect our kids. You're supposed to protect our communities. You're supposed to protect the people that voted you in, which is all of the people. No matter how you feel about those people, you are there to protect them in whatever way you can. So, with that being said, what did you think about all of this? Is this a too little, too late conversation kind of thing? Or do you feel encouraged that, like, at least we're trying to get on the same page? Let us know. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the bell notification so you can know every time that we go live. We'll see you in the next piece. A 1 and a 2 and a peace.